Searching podcasts for Dave, and one more time.
And 3.
Number 2.
Going to be followed by 1.
Which is followed by woohoo.
And all that stuff. And after 131 episodes, you'd think we'd have it down, but we don't.
Of course not.
But we don't. Hey, America. I know. Well, we're not. So technically, the space between podcasts is the same.
It's equal.
It's just, again, a couple days late because we got these things called lives. And sometimes.
Yeah, apparently for 2.5 years, we didn't have much of a life. But
no, not much. But all of a sudden.
We've each.
But you know that, America. Hey, you are welcome. Flat out welcome. Hi, everybody. How are you? I'm Dave.
I'm Juan.
And this is Dave and Juan.
More time.
Thank you. We typically have that jet sound effect early, and I don't know. It makes me think of. Do you see the story this week?
That the one that they lost,
dude. Not a lot of things make you do a legitimate dude.
Now I could see if you were, in the middle of the ocean.
Let's catch it. Yeah, let's catch America up. What do you know about the story? I'm going to pull up.
There was, I guess, a military base in South Carolina, I believe.
South Carolina, lovely state. Been to it several times.
Guys flying a fighter jet.
I think it's supposed to be our top of the line.
Yeah.
Now they said it's $80 million.
Very, very expensive. $80 million.
$80 million fighter jet. That again, what I hear, what I've read, it's our. This is it, man. This is us. If
top of the line, you could do whatever. You could go wherever.
If
technology out of this world.
If the bleep is getting real, and we're decided that okay, we're gonna get in there and we're gonna clean some stuff up, we send.
This is the one.
And
so had a little problem, I guess. Had a little problem, and the guy ejected, which is, I don't know.
Do you know if it was a guy?
No, I do not. That's right.
I read, now granted, maybe I read on X or Twitter or whatever. I probably have a tendency to follow people that are a bit more conspiratorial. So the word conspiratorial, and no SIRI. I don't need you to kick on right now and explain what conspiratorial. The helpful SIRI popping in to tell me, this is what conspiratorial means.
Well, a pilot.
A pilot, but the person
ejected.
that I read the tweet said, you might be able to read in a little bit about who ejected, but the fact they're not telling us. That doesn't seem like that should be a
right. It shouldn't be a secret, and you just I respect the ejection, but there's part of me thinks, should the pilot go down with the ship?
I don't know that I totally respect. So I don't even know if we finished telling what happened. So
no,
the pilot
that's
ejects.
not even the cool part or the crazy part.
So the pilot ejects. So I guess it's a training mission or whatever the heck. But sort of encouraging that they still train. That might be
obviously they need it.
Yeah. And so the pilot ejects, and then the plane continues flying.
Which it might do if it's, going at some high rate of speed in the air.
But the kicker was that apparently our military at this point just sort of puts out the word to America in general.
Yeah. Hey,
bruh, if y'all we can't find this plane.
Right? You stumble across a jet.
Yeah, y'all found that thing? Because we can't find it. It's like, well, and it was 24 hours.
Yes. The fact that they put out that message.
That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
Yeah. Did they post it on like the neighborhood Facebook page?
You know what? Freaking next door, that stupid next door app. That thing would have been on it. I'd have had 17 people on next door app saying, man, can you believe that?
How uninhabited an area did this thing have to hit in? I'm assuming it didn't just land on a strip somewhere.
No, they found it, I think today, or I read that 24 hours later, they found debris. So, but at this point, honestly, do you believe anything?
No.
They're none. I don't.
There's obviously there's theories out there that this was hacked and they don't want to say anything and
all kinds of things. Who knows? But so folks, apparently Top Gun was a lie. I've based most of but this is Marines, I believe. I don't think this is
it was a Marine base. Yeah.
So I've based most of my belief in our wartime ability on Top Gun 1 and Maverick.
And apparently Tom Cruise wasn't flying that baby.
Hey, look, man, Maverick and Goose ditched a jet in the freaking ocean. They found that bad boy like that. Like that. We've got some couillon that ejects somewhere over South Carolina.
My guess is the technology would be equipped with, or there would be some technology because, there could be military secrets or just things.
I can get on my phone right now. I can get on my phone right now and tell you where my 2 sons and my wife are right now.
Right. And probably, you sent me something the other week when you were in New Orleans. You could track the flight that was coming to get you.
Track the flight. I could track the United flight that left to come get me, that circled and went back to the airport. So that technology exists. I don't see why they were, man, we can't find this thing. But maybe we'll see. Maybe I don't know what the excuse would be. But the kicker is they put out something today that none of the Marine pilots can fly until they go through a 2-day safety course. Something.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
What are you gonna?
Part of the safety is putting that that tag on the tail of the jet or something so that you can find it if you lose it.
Bruh, don't turn off the low jack. That's they up to some crap when they turn the low jack off of the Man, I'm going to fly some tricks. I'm going to take the Live 360 off my phone so they can't find me.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Put my phone in airplane mode.
Come on now. Sure. So there you go. That's sleep. So sleep tight, America. That's Now, but it's weird.
I watch crime shows. You can ping a person's phone to see where they are whenever. You triangulate this baby between towers and all that stuff, but can't find a jet.
Listen, I always get encouraged because I may have a problem with this because I'm a Live 360 Apple Find My Phone, and I write it off. I explain it saying, hey, I'm paying the bills for all these things. Okay, my wife technically is help paying the bills too, but right. So if the phone's on my system, hey,
you own it.
I got that Find a Phone, and the same thing with Life 360, and it's probably
as I tell my children when I'm paying for the phone, when I call you, that means you answer it.
I use that pinging thing all the time with my younger son because he will go. I don't even understand how. Well, we've talked about this before. I don't understand how. I barely understand why I think and act the way I do. I can't. It's like my older son, dude, if you text him and he doesn't, and I can even see on the phone if it's been read. So when you text, you can see if a text goes in where it always says delivered, but you can tell. Like, I don't know if it's everybody does that or just on the phone's on your own.
You have it set.
Okay, so I can even tell what. So if you send my son a text that isn't read, that my old son within maybe 5-10 minutes, it's like, okay, that's he maybe do, but. My other son, could be a day, 2 days later. And if you really want to hit you, so I ping his phone. He knows when the, Apple, I have the Find My Phone thing that even if the phone is on silent, if you hit,
it'll ping it.
It'll ping it on that. Well, I know where it's at, but it'll ping it on his end and whatever's going on.
It'll make an alert so that you could find it.
It'll start vibrating and pinging on his end and he knows, oh crap.
I didn't realize that.
Let me read my dad's text, right? And I do that.
The red dot on the phone drives me nuts. I can't deal with that.
I don't have that for some reason. I don't have that on. These are all things, by the way. I'm sure Apple has lots of contracts with the U.S. military. Hey, how about you put some of that on these planes? Come on, $80 million. And you know how numb we are to all this. We look at it, man, it's $80 million, bro. That's you that paid for that. That's us. They took an $80 million right? Plane. And well, I guess they lost it for a little bit, but they crashed it.
Well,
Hey,
yeah,
and don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. They're doing reports like, well, the pilot's okay. Pilot's in stable condition. And hey, God bless him or her, whatever. But none of us were thinking about, how's the pilot?
yeah.
You ejected. I want to go back to that. Like, what part of the training video? Because it sounded to me like that plane could still fly a little bit. A little
At
bit.
least it wasn't in a nosedive. How about that?
Exactly. That pilot didn't hit the eject button as it was spiraling into a mountain.
Yeah.
That plane still had places to go. You think they were just taking a selfie? You think it was a pilot in there taking a selfie about how wonderful it is to be in the military today?
Yeah, flying upside down or something.
Taking the yeah. But anyway, so we'll see. Of course, whenever they tell us what happened, we're not going to believe it anyway.
Yeah, right.
Just like what happened last week, 2 weeks ago in Mexico. You saw when Mexico apparently brought out some aliens. And I know that sounds it probably came out wrong. Mexico's been bringing a lot of aliens for a long, long time. But apparently
skeleton or some fossil.
Yes.
That oddly, I was shocked that it's like, my God, they've been drawing this alien since comic books in the 50s and 60s, and it looks exactly like it.
It looked like
E.T.
a kit. E.T. sort of. It looked like a kit you would buy and like build your own E.T. But apparently the Mexican government, which it's good to hear they still have one, by the way, because everything I read says, so maybe that's what they're doing. Controlling the border and drugs and the fact that the country is sort of out of control. That's sort of beyond the scope of what the government has time to worry about. So that's when you also got to get worried, y'all. When they start rolling out the aliens, things are bad. You talk about one us trying to deflect attention.
Right. It's not like we're all out of all other stories.
Yes.
Slow news day in the national media.
Yeah, man.
An alien story.
How about some aliens? Hey, y'all know we got some aliens. Yeah. This is going back to one of our themes for 2 years now, reminding you, America, they're all lying. Doing it. They're all lying. Both sides. I don't care what animal is behind them. I don't care if it's an elephant or a donkey color, or a rainbow or a green thing or whatever the heck it is. They're all lying. Everybody's got an agenda. They're all lying. We're not. We may be wrong, but we're not lying.
And we're at least wrong truthfully.
You're not right. I saw that today. I don't know why. I went down. I got some work done today, but every now and then I get going down a bunny trail, and I clicked on something. It was something in Congress. Somebody was some person. She happened to be a woman. Could have been a man. Could have been a woman. But when you're stupid, you're stupid. Just making and testifying, I guess, in front of the House in some committee. And just such lies. You're just watching this thing, and okay, everybody's lying, and I guess it's Americans, right? I don't think she was an official. I think she was like asked to speak there, just telling total BS lies. But referenced being run by the gun lobby, referencing like they keep throwing out the power of the gun lobby, and I'm watching this thinking, isn't our government the biggest gun lobby in the world? Like, aren't we all about shipping guns and blow them up stuff?
Dude,
overseas?
I was over the weekend, I was out of town and just randomly met this guy and his wife from Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
And
randomly met a guy from Ukraine. Well, okay.
Yeah, we were on campus tour and everything with my daughter. And he just asked, he said, are y'all from here? I guess he was just walking around the university trying to figure out or answer some questions. I said,
you mean America?
Yeah. And I said, where are you from? And he said, Ukraine. And I said, you're welcome. No.
You did, right?
No. I said, well, I'm curious. I said, what brought you here? And he said, the war. Really? He said, I had been here before, but, so, and I think he does work, government work or something. But so he came when all this started again a year and a half ago.
Uh-huh.
And so I said, I'm just curious, because you hear a lot about what people from other countries think about the United States. What do you think about it? He was singing the praises, man.
Singing the praises.
Yeah.
Uncle Sugar.
Good answer, bro.
Uncle Sugar. Sure. Well, you know why he's singing the praises? Because he's here. Because he had the contacts or the money, or because that's the other thing that's going on over there. And this is, here's what's
Yeah,
bizarre.
this guy was obviously educated, worked in
Sure.
probably some
How
high
old you
level.
how old do you think he was?
Mid-30s,
Mid-30s.
mid to late
Fighting
30s.
age. Fighting
Yeah.
age over there. And that's my thing. It's like, hey, America, and that's what just it's so bizarre. The people that are all into blowing other things up now. They used to write songs. Go back and look at some of the cool songs in the 60s and 70s. There were all the protest songs and all the things about, hey,
Yeah.
it's by law in Hollywood, with the CCR, Senator's Son. It ain't me, Unfortunate Son, right?
Yeah.
It's by law, they have to play that song over when any helicopter scene in a war movie, right? That's just, I think somebody did a cartoon about that. It might have been Family Guy or somebody did that skit once, but it's sort of by law, you have to play that song. Well, what was that song about? America, that song was about, hey, this war thing's a bunch of crap. Rich people and influential people are not being sent off there to die. It ain't
Their
me.
sons are home. I'm gone
right.
because I ain't no fortunate son.
I ain't no fortunate son. My dad's not a senator. Okay. So we used to be about, wait a minute. And apparently now, because that's what's, and I forget the source. I would give the source, seeing something the other day, but there's a certain, I forget how many thousands of dollars it is in Ukraine that families with the wealth to do it are basically paying off folks not to grab their sons, because they're literally pulling people off the street. Forget the draft. Forget getting something in the mail. You in trouble in the mall, bro. You better be careful, because
you need to be more secretively hidden than that.
Yes, we gotta grab you and give you 35 minutes of training.
Here you go, bro.
Hey, here you go, bro.
That's the trigger.
Here you go, bro. So I mean, I don't know. We're kind of sneaking into political stuff, but that's where we are, man.
We live in, man.
That's where we are.
We living in.
That's the inferior. Oh, that's true. You said because you ran into a guy. And don't get me wrong, I don't personally begrudge anybody anything, but it's like, well, hang on now. What, how you liking life? What city were you in?
Ypsilanti, Michigan.
Yeah, get that on a shirt. Ypsilanti.
It's like 15 minutes out of Ann Arbor.
Ypsilanti. All right. Nice college. Nice college visit.
Yep. We flew into not Detroit Airport, but it's really like 45 minutes away from Detroit. So I never got close to Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit. Yeah, I've driven it. I've driven from that airport past 8 Mile.
I wanted to go to the 8 Mile.
No, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because you go there, and dun, 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 dun. You got one shot. Dun, 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 dun. Eminem don't live there anymore. Let's put it that way, right?
No. But apparently in Michigan, it's legal to recreational marijuana is legal.
Okay.
So you're walking around. My wife and I are just going like in a little downtown area where got little pubs and sidewalk bars or sidewalk cafes to sit and have a couple of drinks and stuff. And about every other block, it's like, yeah, all right, man.
Stinky.
So,
that stinky stuff smells like skunk. Right? Smells like skunk.
First, I mean, it's been a while.
It's been a minute. I remember it,
but
it doesn't smell like I remember.
I said, is there a skunk around here?
100%. We've said this before. I mean, I've got all kinds of other issues, but I've never smoked anything in my life.
Right.
I've never smoked a cigarette.
Been to enough concerts in the 70s and 80s, so that you became quite familiar.
And it smelled different. It smelled different back then. And yes, you're right. I guess that's why they call it stinky weed, because it smells like a skunk now. I was in New Orleans the other day. Every now and then you turn a corner or something. I'm like, oh, another skunk. Somebody hit a skunk.
It was the second time I when I said, well, obviously it's not another skunk just right here. But we went to this one place that Joey saw. It looked like a little art type shop. And it had like some hand cut glass in the window. And as we're getting close, I said, Joey, this is like a head shop, because all the glass pieces were like marijuana leaves and other related type symbols. But when you get in there, there's a glass display case of, I guess, what are hand blown glass bongs. Some for
there you go.
$2,000 and $3,000.
Well, it helps to be incredibly high.
Yeah,
If you're
I'm saying, yeah, like that. Never bought it, but
they
I would
know their
imagine you could
market.
buy a lot of weed for $2,000 or $3,000.
Apparently you can. I don't know. I don't pretend to be that whole world to me is it's like shows that I don't watch, but the way pop culture is, like I never watched Breaking Bad. I never watched
I
Breaking
watched
Bad.
it. That's a good show.
Right, you did. But I can pretty much tell you just from the memes I saw and the clips and right, same. No, I did watch The Sopranos, but I mean these shows that even if you didn't see them, you probably know Yellowstone. Everybody kind of knows about
Right.
Yellowstone, right? I feel that way sort of with this. I don't know. I don't know firsthand what's the marijuana world like, right? What's the $2,000, $3,000 for a bong does sound a bit
Impractical.
Yeah. A bit excessive. I can't even imagine that your pothead friends would be that impressed.
Right.
With
or would you let them use it?
Right, exactly. Oh man, good thing he pulled out the good bong. All right,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
But
then we saw
yeah.
a tattoo parlor that with the sign that said "Walk-ins welcome," but there was a guy who I assume was a tattoo artist sitting outside smoking a joint. Maybe that's not where I want to get my tattoo from.
You never know. It may steady his hand.
Right. I don't know.
It may steady his hand. It could be he could have glaucoma. It could be a medicinal
medical reason.
Sure. But that's the world we're living in. And not to harsh your mellow. Did you say that? There needs to be a phrase.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds good.
But
it's a phrase
here's the other lie they tell you guys about all these places that are legalizing marijuana. They're all going to hell. They're all falling apart. Every major city that has legalized marijuana, you talk to what it's because it's supposed to be. Oh, it's it's going to. Apparently it turned out it was better when it was in the shadows.
Yeah.
Apparently it was better when they just sort of kind of had the, it's illegal, but we're probably not going to crack down on you.
Right.
You're
a big tennis fan. You saw a couple of weeks ago the U.S. Open. They said people were getting ticked that like even some of the tennis players were talking about people smoking pot at the U.S. Open.
I did not. No, I was asleep at the wheel there. I did not see that. So they were smoking pot in the stands.
I guess. I mean, it's legal. I wouldn't think you could smoke at all in the stands there. But
well, yeah, I don't think you could either. And I'm just not
tennis players.
I'm not cut out for it. I mean, did I tell you? So like last week, when that New Orleans trip with our friends, I ended up in a cigar bar. I told you that, right? Oh no, I didn't want to go to cigar bar, but just when we got there, we got set up and my son and his friends do something, and then my friend is apparently, who knows, right? Apparently, well, I'm gonna see who it is. It's Gavin, my old best man in my wedding. My wife, I told the story. My wife and I were married with his wedding ring. All right.
Yeah.
Apparently, the boy's picked up some weird habits over time. He smokes a pipe now every now and then. But as far as I can tell, legal stuff. I'm pretty sure it's just all legal thing. Best I can tell. But apparently, he's taken to enjoying the occasional cigar. And there's a cigar. I forget where it is. Uptown. I'd give it a shout out if I could remember it. Yeah. But okay, not a bad little place. But I don't even. It's one of those things. I'm not acclimated to it. I don't know how do you enjoy yourself when there are 15 people in here smoking a cigar.
That all smelled different and none of them are pleasing.
Yeah, pipes even. My wife loves the smell of a pipe. At least she's always said that. My wife says she liked. Now to me, I don't know. But
I just never the whole, there were times in life where I said, gosh, I feel like I ought to be into these trends, feel like I'm missing out on the cigar bar and I'm missing out, I don't drink, fancy coffee.
I don't drink. Well, I'm not a fancy coffee guy. I like wine, but I'm not a fancy wine guy. You give me some great, if somebody pulls out, I'm like, yeah, but I'm not a fancy wine guy. But no, I'm sorry. I thought I told it because the funniest thing to me was that evening I walk out of the cigar bar after, and I would stay long enough to, justify. And then my friends and they swore they wanted to be, and okay, fine. And I'm just going to sit here and try to get oxygen. As much, I'm trying to get air where I can, and they got a 3-piece band, very good band, but they could have played a small gymnasium with the volume they were putting out in there. You follow me? Like Okay, so
you're sucking in smoke and not having conversations.
I can't breathe, I can't hear, and they really didn't have that good a beer in there. Besides that, it was a fantastic place. It was a but again, I enjoyed it. It was good being with friends. It was enjoyable being with friends,
Right.
and couldn't wait to get out of there. But finally, when we walk out of there, they got this dude outside. He's outside smoking a cigarette, and I thought that's got to be the dumbest, the cruelest thing. Wait, so this guy's got to go outside to light up a cigarette.
The cigar bar.
Correct.
Can't smoke a cigarette.
So you got to step outside to smoke your cigarette outside of the cigar bar. I said, yep, that's America. I'm not saying either of them are good. I'm not recommending them, but I'm just feeling for that guy. Like, man, maybe you ought to.
Yeah, I was sitting down with my friend smoking a cigar. Excuse me, I got to step outside while I need to smoke.
I gotta go light up one of these heaters, man. But there you go. So what else is happening here besides missing planes? And well, okay, on a theme on planes. When this airs, which should be Wednesday, I guess,
Wednesday.
the 20th, whatever, is the 50th. If on that day is the 50th anniversary of Jim Croce's plane going down.
In Natchitoches or
Natchitoches. He was leaving. I was actually reading on it a little bit earlier today. He did a concert in at Northwestern.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently this was the same night, again, 50 years ago. So it was a 2,000 capacity, and they said they thought 2,000, but they figured they only had about 1,000 people, which is not a tiny crowd. I mean, 1,000 people is 1,000 people. But it was the same evening as the Bobby Riggs, Billie Jean King.
Oh wow, the tennis
Battle of the Sexes, which that was in the Astrodome here, and that was apparently one of the most watched TV events in history.
A woman in her prime playing
a really old guy who bet against himself, by the way. That's the other thing about Bobby Riggs. Bobby Riggs was a degenerate gambler they can say what they want. That dude tanked. He tanked. He bet against himself
and got paid.
Hey, look, that is what happened. You know, that's what happened. But anyway, so that took away from the crowd anyway. And sadly, apparently, Croce was supposed to be sleeping in Natchitoches that night. And it was toward the end of the tour, and he had to be in a little town in Texas the next day. And he just last minute decided, let's get on out of here. And they had to, I didn't know this part of the story. They had to call the hotel. So the pilot, 57-year-old pilot of this little plane, was at the hotel already because they were staying for the night, and said, hey, no, get over. It was about 3 miles away. Let's go. And he couldn't find, there was no cabs. So this dude starts walking, jogging, trying to get to the airport, goes through a cornfield. He gets lost, comes out. Apparently cops finally find him and find out and bring him to the airport. Think about all the things that had to happen.
Yeah. And I think they typically, I read something on it the other day. I think they typically flew commercial, but for whatever reason, some odd circumstance.
I didn't hear that, but they barely got up. Apparently they barely got off. Like he hit a tree that passed the runway, which is, again, I'd have to see it. I'm very cynical. I'm thinking, why is there a tree? Why is there a tree anywhere near?
It seems like an improbable place.
Okay.
So his son apparently does tours and everything, and I guess speaking tours, but is also playing some music, I think. And there was an event at the university this past weekend to commemorate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't realize. I think he only had 2 albums. He didn't have a really big catalog of music.
But you look back at it, amazing stuff.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things. You look at a guy who, again, 50 years ago, and there are some of his songs, and everybody gets caught up on the Bad Leroy Brown. That was a catch, pop hit.
But man,
Time in a Bottle, Operator.
I'm getting the chills sitting there thinking.
So those of you that haven't listened to Croce in a while, like I know my mom's listening to this podcast probably whenever she's getting around to it. Mom, tell Alexa later on to play Jim Croce's greatest hits, and you're gonna remember, like, man, that guy had some stout stuff, and I can only hope his family actually owns all the residuals and stuff, and the record companies didn't screw them like they screwed everybody back in the day, because just some Just that's music. Okay, we're old guys talking now, but that's music. I did see a comedian clip today. What's her name? She's married to Tom Segura, Christina, and I forget her last name. She's kind of funny.
Segura.
No. Well, I guess technically her married name would be Segura, but she goes by whatever they come here, like Christina P, whatever. And she was talking to a group, and I guess there were millenniums in there, millennials, and she said, "What happened with you guys?" She says, "You're supposed to hate your parents' music, not sample it." Right?
Yeah.
And it struck a nerve with me when she said that. It's like, you're supposed to hate the music and do something else. Don't be taking clips and remixing.
Well, the new Monday Night Football theme, at least the one they played last night for the Saints game, was Chris Stapleton and Snoop Dogg doing a remix of Phil Collins'
In the Air Tonight?
In the Air Tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that as cringy as I thought it was? I didn't see that. I guess I missed that part.
Chris Stapleton just basically sounded like he was covering the song. Snoop Dogg snooped it up.
I wouldn't know Chris Stapleton if he was in the Walmart self-checkout line ahead of me. But apparently he's huge.
I like him. He's
okay.
If you like old style country music.
Okay. And then Snoop is just he's just become he's like a Manning. He's a Manning.
Right. Snoop is I don't think there was ever an authentic rap bone in that dude's body. He's just an entertainer, and he's on everything.
Yeah. And now it's appropriate that he has literally a Corona commercial with Eli, because he will endorse anything.
I saw him on Password a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, Snoop passes a lot of stuff. It's not usually words.
Yeah,
but hey,
talking about planes more. So we flew on Spirit Airlines.
You did not.
Last week, the university makes the reservations.
They flew you on Spirit.
They flew my daughter on Spirit, so we have to pay for hours. But I wasn't gonna. Yeah, I mean, we flew with her.
Bro, yeah, that's when you send an email back saying you have been eliminated from.
It technically wasn't bad. It was on time and everything.
You have been eliminated from consideration by the Seminole family by the fact you want to fly my daughter on freaking Spirit.
I referred to it as want fries with that airline.
Man, Southwest.
Check a bag.
Southwest.
$50. If you do it in advance, if you get to the airport to check your bag, it's $100. While you're sitting there waiting for them to board the plane, you get continual messages, something to the effect of, "Ladies and gentlemen, the flight today is full. But if you would like to upgrade to a larger seat or to a seat with more legroom on the emergency exit row, please feel free to come to the desk." They'll, by upgrade, it's just pay more. But I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well, if it's full, how come you got those seats?
Yeah, who you bumping out of that, right?
Yeah. Then the best.
Oh, I'll bet you. Well, here's why. Well, that or did you have an assigned seat?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, like Southwest could probably pull that off because Southwest is like, hey, man, you go sit.
Right.
It's all about when you get on the plane. It's like you got to go find a freaking place to sit. We ain't holding a seat for you, man. Get on here. But Spirit, right?
The best part, just on one of the legs, a guy starts hawking one of the flight attendants. There's you want a snack or a drink?
Nah.
Any drink. That's money. But he starts hawking the Spirit credit card.
You got to be kidding me.
Dude, it was like I was sitting in a timeshare meeting.
Oh, I know that
Dude,
feeling.
I bet like 10 minutes, just on and on, all the benefits. And then every now and then, we're running out of time. Time is running out. Sign up today and get 1,000 bonus miles.
Oh, that's so cringe. That's so freaking cringe. Oh. Hey, but they're gonna squeeze. Yeah, they got a captive audience. I've been on one. I know I've done it once because my wife forced us in Honolulu. The first time we were in Hawaii, we went to like a Hilton timeshare
Dude, they say those are the most hardcore salespeople.
Oh man, it's so painful. It's so
Because the
painful.
deal is everybody goes there. It's just, bruh, 45 minutes. I'm out.
You instantly want to get, oh, it's just so terrible. So yeah, but I almost, the thing with like buying, selling the snacks and everything, I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
Because
fine.
let's be honest, man, when they roll it's like they're slopping the hogs when you're on planes. It really is. It really is. This is the cranky old man who's done a lot of traveling coming out again. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I was like a Delta. I flew Delta an awful lot when I was flying out of Atlanta. And back in the good old days of Continental, man, it was a different experience. Now
when flying was luxurious.
Oh, even we weren't dressing, it wasn't like the 60s and 70s where people, maybe 50s, where people, oh, you got to dress up to get on a plane. But it was, even the snacks were better. Everything was there was, I want to say they even served meals.
Yes.
Yeah, they actually serve meals in coach. That's gone. Even when you get upgraded to first class, like I'm going to get aggravated. I know I'm going to be so I'll fly to Wisconsin tomorrow. I connect in Chicago, which I cannot stand. I'm hopeful that goes okay. And then I got upgraded on my flight from Chicago to Madison, Wisconsin, which can't be. I hope it's not well, let me say it this way. I hope it takes the exact amount of time it's supposed to take. Right. You don't want it to be a long flight and you don't want it to be too short of a flight. But I know that's a rip-off first class seat. They ain't giving you nothing. They pull that lie on you. Well, by the time we get to altitude and
yeah, we're at 35,000 feet.
They pull that crap all the time.
Feet, yeah.
Like if you're flying from Houston to New Orleans, and a lot of you listening to this have probably done that quite a few times. Ooh, they use that lie. It's a little turbulence. We're going to ask the flight attendants to sit down. My behind. I promise you, they're serving some stuff in first class. I guarantee you that first class flight attendant is handing out a few.
The turbulence is all in the cheap seats.
That's right. It's a little too rough for us to roll out the cattle slop, the pig slop for you guys in that cart. We don't want anybody to trip, so we're just going to have the flight attendant sit down. But so Spirit Air, congratulations, man, and you did it, and
I did it. It was on time, so
we'll go Spirit. Well, there you go. Spirit was kicking United's butt the other day. There you go. I'm gonna have that. I got to hit to the airport at like 6:30. Oh, just in time for traffic. Hey, nothing more fun than hitting Houston. I was talking to somebody during the week, this past week. It was making a comment about, what was it? It must have been on a video call or something. They're talking about Houston. Oh yeah, it was on a video call about that place is just too big. I'm like, yeah, you telling me? I mean, like people say like, oh, it's in Houston. Pump the brakes. I mean, I'm technically, yeah, Houston's right there, but what part of Houston?
Yeah.
What time of day? Houston is 1 hour from Houston, but there you go. And I don't know why it's a Houston thing, because I think this happened on the lakefront, a clip I saw today where everybody's all shocked in New Orleans, the lakefront, because there's an alligator. Oh, why are people still amazed that, there are alligators in the water and the bayous, and yes.
Right. Dude, it's not uncommon to find an alligator on the side of the road.
Yeah. My neighborhood. I've seen those pictures. Yeah. I haven't seen the one they call boots. So the last few years, and I'm pointing back here, those of you that aren't watching the video, in the general direction of course, my wife, if she watched this, would say, you're pointing in the wrong direction, like it matters. But we have
it does.
Oyster Creek, which is probably parts of it are about the size of Baie Lafourche, but most of it is not near the size of Baie. Bro, we've had some 12-foot alligators, and when I say 12 foot, that's not the most impressive thing. They're just massively wide. I mean, the kind of alligators that look like, oh yeah, they definitely eat a person, or no,
in one chomp.
Well, sadly, they don't eat you in one chomp. They kind of just grab something and spin till they tear it off. I'm sorry to bring the thing, but yeah, apparently being eaten by an alligator is not a pleasant.
As opposed to being eaten by any other thing.
If you're lucky, the alligator will drown you before it rips something off of you. But you can't always be guaranteed that. Now, apparently the worst way to go is a bear. Apparently bears are the worst. Bears ain't interested. Bears ain't interested in killing you. They're just interested in eating. So they just start. Yeah. So there you go.
Thanks for that.
You know, I do
was
what
in
I can.
New Orleans today, though. Speaking of alligators in New Orleans, a truck carrying, I guess, alligator, like cleaned alligator meat that flipped, and so there was, alligator meat all over the road somewhere.
Man, bro, if that happened a couple of weeks ago, they could have just fried it right there on the road.
Right there.
Cook that stuff. The heat's gonna kill whatever germs got on it.
I got a camera ticket from New Orleans when I was in New Orleans a couple of weeks ago. 26 and a 20.
You kidding me?
And I'm sitting there saying that had to be the speed that it elevate rolling down that pothole. Probably picked my speed up. I throw it away. I'm not paying.
Of course, throw it away. Man, look, the nerve. And by the way, public service announcement, boys and girls, Dave and Juan are not recommending that you throw away official documents sent to you by one of the most corrupt cities in America. But, it got lost in the mail. I just love the fact that they got everything so buttoned down over there that they can send you a ticket for 26 and a 20. There were probably dead bodies laying within camera view of.
Yeah, I guarantee you, I couldn't have been going any faster than 26 because the holes were so big.
The roads are about as in good shape as the sidewalks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wanted to tell you, so it's funny. So my son started his radio show.
I forgot to listen. So
that's okay. Don't listen now because he's not real good right now. He's getting there.
But we talked about it last week, and so on Thursday night, this is when we had traveled, so it was the Eastern time zone there.
Yeah.
So I go at 9. Said no, it's at 10. It's at 10. I gotta wait till 10. I was gonna listen, and then I go to bed at 11. I said, oh, I forgot.
Well, here's what's funny, and this is where he's gonna probably get. But your voice did make it. Your liners, Juan did some pretty. Everybody loves the liners. One day he'll figure out how to. I typically wouldn't play a liner and then speak after the liner, but hey, people, what you gonna do? But it's funny, right? And I talked to him saying, hey man, how much feedback you want? Because I know they're not giving you any there, right? And that's one of those things too. Because we used to have shout out to E. Joe Broussard, who didn't really ride us that hard, but there's a certain level of I don't want to say it wasn't like professionalism, but it was more respect for the craft,
right, the art, basically. And it was like I said, like when we talked the other day about it, and I used to tell people because it seemed to be a crutch. Coming up, I got a little Led Zeppelin, and it's like
Juan, he must have done that 4 times, and I was laughing and cringing, and I told him
they also get sing-songy. It's like they can't just say, but you got a little Led Zeppelin coming up.
So here's the funny thing, and this is and y'all, it's not that we're good at this, okay? Because we look, if we were that good at that, we'd still be doing it, okay?
Right.
So
it's a lot easier to point out what other people are doing wrong than to do things right.
But what I noticed was 2 weeks ago, I tuned in a little early. And he apparently got there to the station, which is what he did. This is my son's move. So the first time he does it, he's probably there 20 minutes early. But once he does something, man, he's got it down. So I'm sure he's walking in now, right? Ain't no going showing up early.
As the song's about to tail off, he's walking in.
So he got there early, and apparently the DJ was in there, had a couple girls in there with him because they got some DJs that just like. I don't think they got a whole lot so they just bring people in and talk. But so anyway, they asked him to come in, and I heard him. So the first time I ever hear my son on the radio, he's actually sitting there and they talking, and he was good, like so much better than the 3 people in the studio. And I'm like, look at him,
chip off the old block.
Well, not really. I'll go back and listen to my old clips. But he doesn't have.
They're embarrassing.
He doesn't have the Texas. He doesn't have the accent. That you have less of an accent than I do. I used to almost could get rid of it. Now I'll play it up when I'm speaking. Like I'm put it this way, I'm going to be in Wisconsin. I'm not tomorrow morning, but the morning after this, I'm talking to a group of in Madison, Wisconsin bankers, and bro, I'm going to be playing up the accent and having some fun. So now it's just something I use. But he sounds good. The funny thing is, once he gets on the radio, and as I told him after, I said, "Here's the deal: you went from I'm chill, I'm talking, to becoming an announcer." There's nothing worse than an announcer. Whereas, hey, you know, it's
a natural thing to
it
do when
is.
people talking to a microphone, though.
It is. You just got to get used to
For
it.
years, and people would laugh at my, and probably still do. I don't think I have one anymore, but like at work, my outgoing voicemail message. And people say, "Oh, look at Juan with the radio voice on the voicemail." It was, "Hi, this is Juan. I'm not available to take your call right now. Leave a request, and I'll get back to you."
That's about it. So he, but it's fun. I even look, I'm bad. So the second show I heard him, I sat here and I got the app. I actually was playing it on my computer, and then I took a recording, and so I air checked him, his whole show, clipped it up, and I said, "You want it? I can send it to you. It's painful. It's painful for us. If we go back, sometimes I go back and do these things, dude. Anytime, and that's hey, America, and take it for what it's worth. People ask, how do you do a podcast? How do you do whatever? Look, first of all, you got to understand, a lot of it's going to suck, and a lot of it is you're going to go back and hear it. Say, oh, dang, did I sound like that? How many times did I say, right there, or right? So, hearing yourself, if you got to lose the ego and just say, oh, okay, I got to stop doing that, and that's actually what good program directors, if they still exist, would do, right? Say, this is what you do. And I'm trying to push on him. He plays guitar, and but almost like force feeding him twice, I kind of told him where he plays guitar into a song. So like 2 weeks ago, I think he did Crazy Train, and he played Crazy Train.
Oh, he plays it on the air?
On the air, and then goes into the.
That's freaking cool.
That is,
dude.
I texted
almost
him.
said a word that starts.
I know. I'd have blinked it out.
Freaking.
And then this last time he did it with. Let's see. It was Crazy Train the first time, and this last time was. It was another rock song, and I can't remember what it is, but
dude, that's a hook.
Listen. I basically texted him a nice way of saying that was the only thing tonight that made me say, damn, good. My friend Raleigh texted me. Apparently he was listening, and it was like, dude. And so trying to get him now, the worst way to get, the best way to get your son or sons not to do something is to say, hey, you should be doing that. That's awesome. That's awesome. But it's fun. I got to try to pull
you got to
back.
let him find his way. But I mean, I've done stuff, and we've probably talked about this before. This was decades ago when I was working in a creative department at a hospital. And somebody from Nichols called me and said, hey, we're trying to get, a field trip for one of our communications classes. Just to spend the day with people like, who do every aspect of business, public relations, advertising, the designers. I lined up people to come from the news media to talk to this. And somebody asked a question. So I was a copywriter, and they said, do you think you write better now than you did when you were in college? And I said, fun fact, true. This is when you had cassette players in cars. I said, I found a cassette a couple of weeks ago of some old air checks that I did, both of me doing stuff on air, cutting commercials, and all things that I had written, as well as, the regular station jocks doing the stuff. And I was going to bring it in to play it for my coworkers. But when I got in the car that morning, I put it in, and I was so utterly embarrassed that by how I sounded, things that I wrote that I had produced. So yeah, it's we're coming from places of our own humbled egos.
Now, what's happening a lot, and what people are getting a little better, is apparently everybody in the world has a podcast now. So if you're listening to this and you don't have a podcast, you're almost going to be on the. It's bizarre, I continue to discover new ones. Any person who remotely had any type of, I don't want to say celebrity, but let's put it this way. I found out today that I think it's Jamie, the daughter and the son of the Sopranos, like, Tony Soprano on the movie, they got a podcast together. right? And it might be pretty good. Tom Segura was on it. That's how I saw. I just saw a clip.
Every
and by the way, they curse. America, I want you to appreciate the fact that it's by choice,
right?
But mostly because we don't want anybody to have to be worried about it. But my goodness gracious, 90% of the podcasts in America just curse like crazy.
But I assure you, if not 100%, at least 90-something% of the people who are on reality shows, especially like the Bachelor and the Bachelorette, they have podcasts. They have podcasts about the show that they were on.
Makes sense for them. I mean, it does, because America's so starved for they join a club and they just want more and more of it. Hey, more power to them. I'm
not. Hey, you go for it.
But people do get better the more you talk and speak and well, I say that. Don't use us as an example, America.
No, I still talk about, I've said this before. The first time that I was on the radio at Nichols, I queued up Roundabout by Yes. And I hit play, and I said, it's 12 o'clock, and yes, it's time to rock.
Right.
And I realized I hadn't turned the microphone.
Yeah, right. That was like me. I was ready to say what I was going to say.
I guarantee you, I spent invested a lot of time writing that intro.
I don't know what my intro was going to be, but I told you mine. I popped the mic, the song was ending, and I opened my mouth, and nothing came out.
Yeah.
And so there's a little bit of dead air into the next one. True fact, my son played Roundabout last week on his show, because apparently it's a song on some anime thing that he watches. Anime. I don't even know what they call that crap, but whatever that was.
Playing some old rock and roll, man.
No, what I did text him, he didn't play a single song me, you, and Rick sent him. Although he loved the liner. There's a liner coming up this week, I think, that he's going to use. But I texted him saying, that's a bold move. You got a 1 hour show and you're playing an 8.5-minute song. I mean, hope you had to go take a crap or something, because that's the only time you ever pull out those long songs. The other part, again with the son story. So my other son, I was thinking about that this week with, he's in theater and everything. And he was, we saw him in Forever Plaid musical here.
Yeah. So I saw the pictures. And again, we talked about this before the show. If y'all don't realize, Dave and I will text some back and forth during the week, but we never pick up the phone or really, hey, this is going to be good. Let's talk about this on the podcast. No. It's very, here's what it is.
You just send pictures, yeah.
So did they just have prop jackets and microphones?
Yes. So as you walked in, they had for the.
I kept waiting to see like that there was an audio recording. I thought
it's pretty good. Pretty good marketing. Something. Pretty good marketing. They set that up, and what they do is they encourage the people that come in to take pictures, and then they encourage them to put them on Instagram. So it's sort of like self-promoting, and it does good. And then I said, my son is playing he's a swing in this show, so he backs up 2 different roles, which to me is incredibly hard. Now, the unfortunate part for him, fortunate for the production, is he's apparently backing up some pretty stout guys. I mean, they don't miss much. So the show we went to was one they would let him perform. So this never changes, guys. I don't care if your kids are 4 or 6 or 8 years old, and you're on the football stands or the basketball stands or whatever, man, it is always nerve-wracking when your kids perform. And I don't know that I've been more nervous, dude. And I got to get in front of a big group 2 days from now. Man, I will be, my pulse will be 60 when I get up there. I will be chill. Man, I could barely breathe waiting, because the show had been running for a bit. It's a big part. It's basically the lead part. Lots of dialogue, lots of singing, lots of choreography. I mean, so many ways for this to go south. And he was great. He was amazing. And I was like, okay, so felt fantastic about it. And then he had some other stuff this week, try out for a role. And I thought about this, theater and the arts. Man, it's brutal. It sucks. Dude. It sucks. Think about this. If any of you out there have ever had friends that at work, people you know, and all of a sudden there's a job that opens up, a promotion. Good job. And everybody applies for it because everybody wants that job. Well, guess what? That's stressful, man. That sucks when like people you know and like and get along with, there's only one job. Somebody's going to get it. Doesn't mean you're not. There may be 5 people who would do fantastic with this job, but only one per. Dude, that's what theater and the arts is every freaking few months, man. You are constantly trying out for something that your friends. And that blows my mind. I was talking to my son about that because he knows some of these folks now, and they sit and they hang around, and you know, he's not me, like because he's probably upbeat. He's probably complimenting people about the stuff they do. I'd be out there saying,
"Yeah,
man, you got a cold."
I wouldn't tell a soul about a potential audition because that just creates competition for you.
Oh well, they all find it. I mean, they don't. They're going to find that, but it's like when you show up and you're kind of hanging around, waiting to go. I'd be like, man, you got a cold, bro? You sound kind of. You sound kind of off today, man. What's
It's and I do a little voiceover here and there, which is more to entertain myself. But they'll tell you if you're serious, or one of the coaches I worked with, if you're serious about this business, the attitude that you have to take is your job is auditioning and marketing. Yeah, and if you get a job, that's just a little bonus.
Yep. We're gonna close. It's a good line, by the way. It's true. Yeah. I use that line oftentimes. I'm trying to remember doing a couple of days when I talk to people about. I have a slide that says, "I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but the world is not looking for you. No, it's not. The world is busy. People have lives. You ain't a big part of it. It's not. If you are waiting, if you think that just being good at what you do is enough, that people are going to find you, man, you are playing hide and seek by yourself. You're going to be standing behind that tree for a long time. It's about putting yourself out there constantly, right? And it's rejection,
shotgun
dude.
Approach it, and from the perspective of somebody who's, in my own thing, who's hired a lot of people who do what I try to do on occasion. Look, man, if I listen, if I got 100 people and I listen to 10, and 2 of them out of the first 10. I had enough.
And a lot of it's luck of the draw. A lot of it's hey, you just happened, you came up right, and so there you go. But that's I tell my son, it's like, man, if you ought to be in sales. If you got the mentality to be able to take rejection all the time, you ought to just be in sales. You'll get rich in sales because most of sales is
it. You gotta I've done sales. It's you gotta make the call and don't stop when you're told no or you're rejected.
Okay, well, that's great. That's great for advice for sales, not for dating. All right,
no, not for dating. Yeah,
not for dating.
If you could be successful at sales, you could be a pretty good dater too.
On that pleasant note, let's push the button. Get on out. We didn't even talk about the Saints. Probably should have. Most Louisiana cares. The rest of the country doesn't. We care. Saints are a very, very unimpressive 2-0, but man, they're 2-0. As Bill Parcells once said, you are what your record says you are.
Right. I'll take it.
It was a painful game to watch, really ugly game to watch, but they always look better in retrospect when you won. So go Saints. Hold that. We got it. All right. Now we'll get that out of the way. Hey, if you want to reach us, we ain't hard to, like Dion's shirt, ain't hard to find. Ain't hard to find. It's Dave and Juan at protonmail.com. And you found us this time.
Right now.
That's right. Wherever you found us, here we are.
Do it again. Same bad time, same bad channel.
Every week, we look right into the camera, America. And those of you, again, who are not watching the video, I mean,
we're looking.
Yeah, we're looking right at you. It's not a suggestion, not a hint.
No, bro, not a request. No.
Subtly implying jack squat. Man. Yo, you think the CDC's big time?
Bro. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Freaking mandate. Get out there.
This is stronger requirement than that guy who had to follow the one who wanted to smoke a cigarette and had to leave the cigar bar to do it. That's a mandate.
That's called a callback. If in comedians, when they're working, they do a callback where they reference something that happened way earlier. There you go, Juan, calling back a story there. There you go. Get out there, live your best life, take your shots, y'all. Hey, it's a good week. All right, you made it. You're here.
Yeah. Could be worse.
Could be worse. You wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it, but people around you would. They were not around you would. But there you go. And the buffet's before you. Please pick and choose.
Serve
get what
it
you
up.
want. Serve it up. And you know what? I think we're gonna be back on.
Yep,
Monday.
on the Monday.
Of course, I lied. I didn't know I was lying when I told y'all we'd be back last Monday. But hey,
yeah, I thought I'd be getting home earlier Sunday than I did.
Stuff happens. Juan couldn't get the private Spirit flight, but he got in time.
And then I had to watch the Saints. So
to get this one done. But hey, we should be back. Find us when you find us. It's going to be out. It's going to be out there. And until then, everybody have a fantastic week. Love you, bro.
Back at you, dude. So this pizza restaurant we were in the other night on the I've never seen this before. They had you pick your dough. Now, granted, I've seen you want wheat dough, you want gluten free. It was buttered. Multiple things like that. And one of the flavors was Cajun.
Cajun dough. Okay.
So when the waitress came out, I said, "Hey, I'm just curious. What is Cajun dough? What's that like?" He said, "I'm not sure. I guess they just put like hot flavored and spices in it or something." So I put my driver's license out. I said, "You see that last name? You see where I'm from? I'm not ordering Cajun dough because no matter what y'all say, it's not Cajun dough." He said, what do you mean? I said, "I'm a Cajun. You ain't got no Cajun dough. Now, I just want regular dough, whatever kind of dough that is. That's what I want on my pizza." Coming here trying to con me in some deal.
They probably spit in your food.
Yeah, well, they might have.
It's over. Go home.